Hi, RMJ Movie Reviews back again with another movie review for the last like 2-3 days of October. I decided I'm gonna review the Blob remake from 1988. Again, this is another horror film from my childhood that I actually saw. I still remember when this film came out. I remember seeing like little kind of previews for it on TV, you know, the TV spots, and then the movie kind of just quickly, I don't remember it anymore. And then I just remember going to the video store with my cousins, a place called Earl's Video Store, which I think is either Earl's or Errol's. I think it was Earl's, but I think Blockbuster bought them out in the late 80s, early 90s. But I remember me and my cousins going to the video store, and my aunt actually rented the film. And I remember we were watching the film, and I wasn't interested in it because, you know, this is like 88 or 89. And, you know, I mean, this is the time of like Jason and Freddy, you know, so it was, and Chucky, so, you know, so it was kind of like the Blob, you know, and I had never seen the original Blob, still haven't. So I'm going to do this review strictly based off of this film. But I tell you, man, this movie, and surprisingly, upon looking at the credits to this movie now, I didn't realize this until like within the last couple years that Chuck Russell, who directed The Mask and did Nightmare on Elm Street 3, and Frank Darabont, who did Shawshank Redemption and Green Mile, actually, Chuck Russell directed this film, but Frank Darabont helped with the writing of this script, which I think explains why, upon rewatching this movie again, this movie actually gets more and more enjoyable as I watch it over the years. When I finally watched it all the way through on HBO way back in the late 80s, I liked it. But upon rewatching it now as an adult, this is a very well done movie. You know, it kind of sucks that it's kind of overlooked and it doesn't get more praise. But the characters, first of all, this movie moves at a really good pace. And the characters are very well written, and they're very well acted by all the actors. You know, you got Matt Dillon's brother, Kevin Dillon, from Platoon, the TV show Entourage, and many of various 80s movies back in the day. The lovely, lovely Shawnee Smith, who I love Shawnee Smith. I always had a crush on her from when I saw her in this movie when I was a kid, and some other 80s movies that I can't even remember right offhand. But Shawnee Smith, if you happen to come across this review on YouTube, I love you. I've had a crush on you ever since I was a little kid. I'm 33 now, so, you know, it's funny to say it, but you're gorgeous. You're a good actress. I love you. And there's many of other horror actors who are in here, veteran character actors. I mean, this movie's phenomenal. One of the good things, aside from the fantastic direction, the pace, the good acting, and the good writing, is, of course, the practical special effects of the time. And for people who are younger, who are maybe watching this review, who were born in the early 90s, mid 90s, whatever, no CGI. This is all practical special effects, and they hold up, you know. And there's a couple of shots in the film. I think there's particularly 2 shots where Kevin Dillon and Shawnee Smith are running from the Blob, and like I think there's another shot in the movie theater when the Blob attacks people in the movie theater, and another scene where I think Kevin Dillon runs across the frame where there's background action. I think those were intentionally meant to kind of emulate kind of the scenes from those older films, like the original Blob, you know, or The Thing and The Fly and all those from back then. The original ones, not the 80s remakes. But one of the things that's really missing from the remake market of now is that you can actually tell they cared when they made this movie. There's passion. This is not, yes, of course, this is being made for monetary reasons, but you can sense the creativity and the passion behind the project. It doesn't feel like when you watch a piece of trash doo-doo like the Nightmare on Elm Street remake, that's a piece of crap, which I hate, and it's garbage. And I saw some little bastard on YouTube who said it was better than the 1984 version. I could have jumped through the television and strangled him because he's wrong. But you can sense the passion. And also, too, the creative kills they have in this movie. This movie has a ton of memorable kills. I mean, we could go from the phone booth, the Blob pulling the guy through the drain in the kitchen, from the dude making out with his girl, and then he sticks his hand down her shirt and the Blob comes out and sucks him in. I mean, no person is unsafe. One of the things I like is the clever script writing. They pull a psycho in here. They set up this main character. I think his name is Donovan Littich, who was in the Brad Pitt horror movie Cutting Class. But I love how they set up his character like he's going to be a star. And this dude gets off. I mean, everybody. This movie does not care. Everybody and anybody gets killed. They kill kids. They kill women and children. They dispatch them in the most people get folded backwards. Friday the 13th Part 6, Jason Lives style. I mean, you see the Blob crawl up through a dude's suit and suck his face in. It is very sick and ghoulish, and it's great. And of course, it ends with the creepy preacher, with his eye burned out, and he puts up a Blob, which is a setup for a sequel, which was to never happen. But this is a fantastic movie, man. This is really, really good. I mean, I'd love to actually see this played in a theater for like really younger audiences, like 18 and 17. Because I honestly think it would play. I didn't think this movie was cheesy at all. I mean, of course, some of the hairstyles and, the kids of today wouldn't really get the scene in the movie theater when, this movie was made in 1988. So they're kind of mocking the Friday the 13th and franchise slasher pictures of the day. And what I even love in that scene is when they got the movie theater guy in the booth, the music mocks the Harry Manfredini score from Friday the 13th. The music almost even sounds very similar because the music goes like, and it kind of sounds like the Friday movies from the 80s, Harry Manfredini score. But I think if today's kids' audiences saw this film, I don't think they'd get those references and some of the in jokes. You have to be pretty much either a teenager or a child of the 80s to really get those. But this movie's fantastic, man. I mean, you got great characters, great practical special effects, great kills. And I think that's one of the things that CGI misses out on. Of course, yeah, we have Terminator 2. Of course, we have Jurassic Park, The Abyss, where the CGI in those films holds up pretty well. But you got James Cameron, Steven Spielberg. But I think a lot of the other stuff, like when you look at Independence Day or some of the lesser known CGI fest things, the CG, it doesn't hold up like the practical. Like when you watch, like when I review Poltergeist 2, when you watch the vomit creature in Poltergeist 2 or Sloth in the Goonies, or all these kills in this Blob remake, they hold up. They stand the test of time. And I think that's unfortunately what's really missing from filmmaking now, which really makes it utterly depressing, is that you just don't sense the passion, you don't sense the commitment. You can really tell that it's just purely monetary. But and of course I also forgot to add that it ends with the obligatory 1980s rock song, which I don't even know if this is a famous band that made it, but the song was good. But my camera's gonna be running out soon, so I gotta wrap this up. But that's my review for the Blob remake, and I'm not really quite sure what my next horror movie review is going to be, or two. But those are my thoughts on the Blob remake. So you guys, please give me some feedback. We can talk about it, and what a great movie this is. So that's RMJ Movie Reviews for the Blob remake, 1988. All right, guys. Have a nice evening.